After this winter's farmers' revolts, Europe is looking for a new agricultural production model.
Every day we have something like 300,000 people more per day.
This represents more and more people to feed, an enormous challenge.
We have to climb the Everest.
ENAJ, the young association of European journalists specializing in agricultural and food topics, organized a symposium on Thursday, April the 11th, at the European Parliament in Brussels.
Good afternoon, bienvenue, and welcome everybody here to the European Parliament in Brussels.
The objective? To find an agricultural model that satisfies both farmers and consumers. From the outset, Professor Alan Matthews debunked a widespread idea to appease farmers' anger, that of increasing agricultural prices.
If you do raise prices, by definition, this creates excess supply because you're likely to choke off some demand in the market.
It's also difficult to change the distribution of value between producers, manufacturers and farmers.
There is a belief that somehow in the supply chain, and we know there is market power in the supply chain, but that this means there's also a pot of gold, which in a sense farmers could get their hands on in order to increase their prices. And I just would argue that that is debatable.
Since the moment inflation started to spread all over Europe, supermarkets have been warning that they have already cut their margins.
You don't have a big pot of gold at the retail on the retail side, actually, if you look at the prices there. And that would be quite interesting to see if there are other pots of maybe not gold but silver somewhere in the supply chain. So this is why when the Commission recently announced that there was a new observatory to be created at EU level, we think that's a very good initiative.
The Commission is considering raising agricultural prices, but it is inconceivable that the consumer should have to pay more, especially in the face of competition from third countries, which are not concerned by the health and environmental standards that Europe imposes on its farmers. Take tomatoes from Morocco, for example.
Moroccan tomato production is increased from 350,000 tons imported in Europe to more than 500,000 tons last year. With Morocco, tomatoes have not the same costs as the one we produce in Europe. We have in Europe 14 euro an hour cost of labor, while there are less than €1 labor cost in Morocco. They have, of course, not the same environmental standards. And the result on the shelves is that the consumers don't even can clearly see where the tomatoes come from.
So how can we break the deadlock? We need to enforce mirror clauses on social and environmental issues, but we also need to avoid penalizing farmers too much with the environmental measures of the Green Deal, as the European Union's Director of Agriculture admits.
We have no option then to address the challenges arising from climate change, from biodiversity loss, from bad quality of water, air and soil. But I think what we have seen over the last 4 years is that we have to do it in a balanced manner. What matters is the speed of change and the depth of change. Now, I accept the argument that the situation might be such that we have to be quick and in-depth in our reforms.
If European farmers are to survive, they urgently need to improve their competitiveness. In order to do this, they perhaps need to regroup into common organizations.
And coming from an organization that represents groups of independent retailers, cooperatives, we certainly have a model that has shown that for SME retail, it has allowed them to cooperate and face market pressure, face competition, and have bargaining power against bigger actors on the market. So this is clearly a model that can be used to develop more cooperative, more associations at farming level, at the producer level, to make them competitive.
Organizations of small producers rather than mega farms with industrial capital. If farmers are to be saved, this is one avenue that European institutions should seriously consider.